Welcome to the Merton Heritage Alphabet, an A to Z of our borough's colourful past. Our next letter L stands for lavender. Mitcham boasts areas of rich, dark, loam soil which have been very good for horticulture. In previous centuries, the area has held physic gardens and arranged market gardens. From the mid-18th century, large areas of Mitcham were devoted to the cultivation of aromatic plants and shrubs, including chamomile, poppies, licorice, aniseed and damask rose. However, the chief crop associated with the area is lavender. This has been a well-known crop in cultivation here since the 1500s, but its main heyday was in the 19th century, when large swathes of land around Mitcham, Wallington, Carshalton and Sutton were a sea of the fragrant purple-blue flowers. Cultivating lavender was hard work, and harvesters in the London area would work up to 14 hours per day for a weekly wage of 10 to 15 shillings. That's between 50 and 75 pence in modern money. Further south, they would be paid much less. Many relied on the charity of local landowners. In 1749, Ephraim Potter and William Moore set up a lavender oil distillery at Tamworth Farm, Evelyn Road, not far from Figs Marsh in Mitcham. Here they processed the lavender crop and also worked on rose and mint oil. William's grandson James really developed the firm. A shrewd businessman and nurseryman, in 1768 he began cultivation of medicinal herbs on a small scale. However, his great care and skill led him to increase his cultivation, so at the time of his death in 1799, he was considered the most preeminent grower in England to have amassed a competent fortune. James Moore, Potter's nephew, inherited and bought more land, including the manor of Biggin and Tamworth. By the end of the 19th century, Potter and Moore had over 500 acres of land cultivating lavender, peppermint, spearmint, roses, pennyroyal and chamomile. They owned 4 wagon teams, each of 4 powerful horses. 2 to 3 teams would be on the road simultaneously to London all year round, taking herbs and straw and so forth to the markets and returning with dung and night soil for fertilising the firm's fields. As the fortunes of the company rose, it acquired multiple wagons, cart lodges, barns, a counting house, a dry warehouse and still room, with 5 coal-fired copper stills which could produce up to 20 tons of lavender oil per day. Outside the still room was a large horse mill and 2 drying houses, each with cold fire furnaces. Gases were conducted through flues below canvas frames on which the herbs were dried. August was the best time for harvesting and getting the best quality lavender oil, and this brought a range of seasonal workers. There was also a traveller link here. In 1881, over 230 traveller families were based in caravans and tents on Mitcham Common. They travelled to the area to help with the annual fair and also to trade horses, but they also assisted in the seasonal gathering of herbs like lavender and also were street hawkers selling bunches of the fragrant crop. Mitcham lavender needed a late workforce for harvesting the crop, and this was also sold in bunches on the local streets. Lavender was grown on 4-year-old roots. Women cut the crop and bundled it into loose mats, which would be carried to a still room where they were distilled and oil was used for perfume, cosmetics and tonic medicines. James Moore paid up to 1 guinea, that's equivalent of £1.10 per acre for cutting lavender, and sold the crop at 40 shillings, that's the equivalent of £2 oil per pound. James died in 1851 and the firm passed to his illegitimate son James Bridger, who owned the company until 1885, by which time the Potter and Moore farm spread from the Swan Inn, which once stood opposite Streatham Road in Mitcham, down London Road to Tooting Junction. By this stage, Mitcham lavender and peppermint oils had a worldwide reputation. Descendants of the Potter and Moore family were still in the local area after they'd ceased to trade locally. This property, the Chestnuts, was the home of Miss Gertrude Bridger, who was the daughter of James Bridger, and the family is also commemorated at Mitcham Parish Church with a communion cup donated in memory of the 2 families in 1937. In 1886, the Potter and Moore firm was bought by W.J. Bush, and they profited from a lot of goodwill which surrounded Potter and Moore. The distillery off Batsworth Road suffered a major explosion in 1933, which devastated the surrounding area and killed a small boy, and this brought halt to a lot of the production in the area. A lot of the main lavender cultivators in Mitcham had ceased trading by 1904. Henry Fowler was one of the preeminent lavender growers. He was born in Dunstable in 1846 and initially worked as a florist labourer. He lived at 6 Dixon's Cottages, which stood near the Gardener's Arms pub on London Road. Between 1882 and 1919, he had a stall at Covent Garden Market and was then one of the largest dealers in lavender in the country. By 1911, he was also described as working as a florist together with his wife Anne and their daughter Nelly. However, by the 1920s, Fowler's crops had greatly diminished. He's recorded as saying it doesn't pay to handle lavender, and he finished trading by the age of 76. So, talking about the street sale of lavender, there are a range of street hawkers with very distinctive cries for selling lavender, including, "Will you buy my sweet lavender, 3 bunches a penny," meant to attract customers to decide whether they wanted to buy little bundles of the fragrant crop or not. Markets sold lavender in bundles, each containing 12 branches of the herb. This was sold to suburban ladies for fragrancing the clothes that they had in storage and protecting them against moths. Lavender also had a very long-lasting scent, and some costermongers sold lavender cheaply to regular customers. There were many flower girls working in the markets between July and September selling lavender, and during the winter they also offered lavender in small dried bunches. It was also sold in herb shops, and older women sold lavender door to door. This is Nelly Sparrowhawk, a member of an established Mitcham family with traveller heritage, and she had a very distinctive cry which went, "Won't you buy my sweet blooming lavender, 16 bunches for 1 penny? Ladies fair, make no delay. I have your lavender fresh today. Buy it once, you'll buy it twice. It makes your clothes smell sweet and nice. It will scent your pocket handkerchiefs. 16 bunches for 1 penny. As I walk through London streets, I have your lavender nice and sweet. 16 bunches for a penny." The recording of these hawkers' cries is one of the main links to preserve the memory of the industry and also the memory of the people operating in it. Today, Mitcham lavender and its history is commemorated in a range of different forms in the local area. During the 1960s, it was memorialised through grand floral displays which were set up near Tamworth Manor Recreation Ground, not far from where the Potter and Moore firm once stood. You also have the names of local parks like Lavender Park in Mitcham, or also Lavender Avenue in the local area, which commemorates the cultivation of lavender in Mitcham. There has been a resurrection of some lavender farms in the local area, but those are more out in the Carshalton area, and companies like Body Shop still retain plants which are said to have been derived from the original Mitcham stock for the cultivation of lavender for their various cosmetics and toiletries. If you would like to know more about Merton's heritage, visit our Merton Memories website at merton.gov.uk/memories. You can also find more information at Merton Heritage and Local Studies Centre, which is based on the 2nd floor of Morden Library.